very well with this virus, but they still spread it. And then you also have people just living their lives. And we know that where we've had cases of NBA players getting the virus, essentially it's been those who, in the many months before we went into the bubble and then when we came out of the bubble. So, unless somebody's going to truly live in a sort of sheltered home protocol, not just themselves, but everyone around them, people are unfortunately going to get this virus, or there's a chance they're going to get it. So, again, watching what baseball did, watching what the NFL is going through, I think we have to be prepared for the fact that if we're doing daily testing, which we will be, and in fact, there may be scenarios where we're testing more than once a day, it's likely along the way someone could test positive. And then what the protocols we had in place in Orlando will be similar to what we'll do now, which is, of course, to immediately isolate that player from the team staff and his teammates, do the contact tracing, potentially retest others. And as we're learning from the other leagues, it would then seem you can responsibly continue, even if you have one player infected, with the kind of rapid testing we're able to do. It doesn't mean that you would then be subject to multi-week quarantines. The only thing, the big caveat here is, of course, that because there's not one consistent national policy in addressing the virus, I'm not saying there should be, because what's happening, in Oregon could be completely different than what's happening in Florida. And so, therefore, we may run into situations where local municipalities or their state rules that don't allow us to continue playing. And so, with every sort of my opening statement tonight at the draft was there's enormous uncertainty around this virus, and including how we will proceed this season. So we're doing something we've never done before, which was we're planning to issue the schedule in parts. So we're going to have an initial schedule, as you said, PJ's season starts December 22nd. We're going to issue a schedule through early March, which will then give us a chance to reset, and maybe we'll learn. Maybe it'll turn out that we had to postpone some games. But I've said this before. One thing we all learned in dealing with this virus is that we have to stay incredibly humble, and we learn from other industries, we learn from other sports, and we'll just see as we go, including ultimately and follow the advice we get from public health officials.
Adam, this is LaFonso Ellis. Thank you for joining us. Forgive me, I couldn't hear much of what you're saying, so if I ask a question that's redundant, forgive me, please. Just looking at it on the screen, it's a beautiful presentation, and I know logistically it must have been a nightmare, but what was the one thing that kept you up at night as you thought about bringing all of this together to have the draft tonight?
I think, the draft, honestly, is more straightforward because the draftees were able to remain at home, and it was a production issue. And again, ESPN did a fantastic job. That issue didn't keep me as much as the daily testing in the bubble, honestly, where, in the middle of the night we'd get test results. So that literally kept me up. I think here, yesterday we had a virtual session with the draftees and their families, Michelle Roberts and I and others, something that, LaFonso, as you know, that when you're coming into the league, we do in person. There's a luncheon and there's a reception and there's all kinds of fun events and there's celebrations afterwards. I feel for these young men and their families. And I think that and the older I get, as bad as I feel for the draft picks, they're so young. I actually feel more sympathy for their parents.
Right.
Having raised their children, and this is a family moment. It's not just about the player. And it's great to see the shots of from people's homes, of everybody celebrating. But one of the things I said to the families yesterday, I said, is I owe you guys a big party. And once we get through this, and we will, I'm thinking maybe around the Summer League in Las Vegas, we can have some sort of big kind of celebration and, get them dressed up and bring them back and sort of do a reenactment of the draft and just allow people to have the celebration, not just the players, but their families too, and because it is one of the great days in all of their lives, not just the players. And you can just see the parents are beaming, and the brothers and sisters and the uncles and aunts and the guardians and the people who helped them along the way, the coaches. So that's it. Didn't keep me up at night. I just feel bad.
Well, I look forward to that. I know it's not going to be easy to navigate the season. I know the league and you at leadership will do the best job possible. And as we let you go here, I just did want to amplify your right, because PJ and I, maybe Doris too, I remember getting our test results at about 3:45 a.m. and we're texting each other, and we're all up texting each other. Hey, we're still negative, and we're.
It was the inconclusive that kept me up, but.
Thank you so much for coming in.
We're joining that party that you throw. I can tell you that.
Everyone's invited.
Thanks, Adam.
Great to be with all of you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, so gracious to give us a few minutes after being here on the campus at ESPN all day long and announcing the first round. And Mark Tatum, his deputy commissioner, is now doing the selections for the second round. We will get you caught up on the first 5 or 6 picks on the first round in just a moment. But first, we will talk some Indiana Pacers basketball, because the new head coach of the Pacers, Nate Bjorkgren, is joining us. Spent the last 2 years on Nick Nurse's staff in Toronto. Nate, congratulations a few weeks late here on picking up the Pacers job. Obviously, this is a different offseason like any other. Kind of take us behind the scenes on now how quickly you have to ramp things up here taking over Indiana.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, we're getting it moving. You know, the draft room is moving along tonight as the draft is going, as everybody knows, and we have a lot of our Pacers players are in the gym for individual workouts. So I've been all over the United States visiting the guys in the other cities, and like I said, we have a number of them here. So it's a great group. I'm looking forward to coaching this team.
Nate, it's Doris. Congratulations, first and foremost. I'm just curious, you know, you've been around the game forever. There's great stories that the basketball court you played on growing up is still in your parents' driveway, which just makes me so happy. But I'm just curious, like, when you first take over an NBA team, you know, what are the first 3 to 4 things that you're saying, all right, this has to get done?
Yeah, the number one thing is reaching out and connecting with the players, you know, right? You know, when I was offered the job and accepted the job, that was the first thing on my mind, was to reach out to these guys. And they did a great job of texting me and calling me right away as well. So number one is the players, just how I can connect and how I can make them better, making them better basketball players, you know, helps our team get better. You know, and then number two, I'm also in the process of hiring a coaching staff, working very closely with our front office here and bringing in good people. There are so many great coaches out there. So, you know, we're being very detailed and thorough in our research on that. And I am. I'm looking forward to getting started here. The calendar's moving along quickly, like you said, and I like it that way. I've spent many years, you know, coaching other teams, you know, whether it was in minor leagues where I'd have to get my teams ready to go very quickly in short amounts of time. So we'll use this to our advantage.
Hey, Nate, it's PJ. Carlesimo, congratulations, because you were and are one of those very talented coaches that have paid their dues for a long time, and you've got a great opportunity. To me, from the outside, the health of 2 of your guys is maybe 2 of your biggest concerns. How's Domantas and Victor doing?
Coach, they're doing great. I've seen them both. I spent 2 days with both of them, watched them work out. And they look great, and they're excited. They're excited for this season to get going. You know, they're just looking forward to, you know, the newness of it. It's a great job, as you know, that I'm coming into. The Pacers organization is a great place, and just you know, new coach and new ideas, new style. They're eager, and I'm looking forward to coaching them.
Good luck.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Nate LaFonso Ellis, thanks for jumping on with us. One of the things I was reading is that, and actually had the privilege of doing one of the Pacers games last year with against the Milwaukee Bucks, and one thing that jumped off the screen at me was, especially in the modern NBA with the number of three-point shots that are taken, is that you guys were 29th in three-point field goals made. Will that be something that you would like to change going forward, or will it stay the way it is?
No, we'd like to change that. Each team has their, it's a good point. Each team has their strengths and areas to improve on, and different styles of coaching, different philosophies, and that is something that you're going to see. This is a team that can shoot the three, very good shooters, willing passers. We want to get the right threes, but you'll see that ranking move upward this season.
Coach, thank you very much for a few minutes, and we look forward to seeing you down the road this first season for you in Indianapolis.
Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it.
Nate Bjorkgren, the new head coach of the Indiana Pacers, coming over from Toronto, where he won a championship ring a couple of years ago as an assistant for Nick Nurse. Coming up next, we're 7 picks into round 2. I know we have to get you caught up. Right now on the clock are the Jazz, followed by the Pelicans and the Grizzlies.